weather that refuses to behave, conspiracies that took decades to uncover, and controversies that are still debated today don't always have an otherworldly explanation.
Was it ultimately greed that drove those players?
I think, yes, greed is, I think, the primary motivation.
So if you're into mysteries backed by real footage, watch till the end. You won't believe what one comedian did to FIFA's president on live TV. On the 20th of July, 2015, FIFA was in the middle of a huge corruption scandal. During a live press event in Zurich, comedian Simon Brodkin walked right up to FIFA president Sepp Blatter. He joked that the cash in his hand was a bribe from North Korea for hosting the 2026 World Cup. As guards rushed to pull him away, Brodkin threw $600 of his own money into the air. The photo of cash flying around Blatter became famous overnight, capturing all the greed and mess around FIFA. Area 51 secret. The recording begins with a blurry view of the FIFA World Cup trophy. Moments later, FIFA officials and President Trump appear standing beside several tall figures that do not look human. The strange beings seem interested in the trophy, while everyone around them appears calm and smiling. No one in the video seems surprised by their presence.
Portugal, maybe they'll win this time.
The footage ends without any explanation, leaving only silence. No official source has ever confirmed the recording, but it continues to spread online, with many people wondering whether it shows a hidden meeting.
Portugal, maybe they'll win this time.
Mysterious fan. During the World Cup match, Brazil was losing to Norway, and the crowd went silent with shock. But when cameras moved through the stands to catch every reaction, one fan sat still, staring at the field with a strange look on his face. Then something odd happened. His eyes turned dark and empty for a moment, almost like they were not human anymore. Fans nearby said they felt a chill in the air. Some believed it was just the shock of the loss. Others thought the camera had caught something no one could explain. The clip spread fast, leaving people asking what really happened that day. Strange sky. A quiet street turned wild in seconds when the storm rolled in. Thick clouds curled together above the rooftops, forming a shape that looked almost like a giant wave frozen in the sky.
That thing is huge!
Then came the lightning, bright orange bolts flashing deep inside the dark clouds like fire hidden in smoke.
Oh my god!
One man stood in his yard, phone raised, trying to catch the moment before it slipped away. Neighbors came out one by one, staring up in silence. This clip has since traveled far online, and viewers keep asking the same thing. Was this just weather, or something more? Black magic. Ghana started their World Cup 2026 run with a wild finish against Panama in Toronto. The match stayed scoreless until the 95th minute, when Caleb Urenki scored a stoppage time winner that sent the crowd into chaos. But cameras also caught something else that night. A fan in the stands was seen blowing white powder into the air during a tense moment of the game. After the winning goal went in, social media lit up fast, with many joking the fan had cast a spell for Ghana. There was no proof behind any of it, just pure superstition talk. Still, the internet has not stopped debating it since. Chile beam. A strange sound outside sent a man in Rancagua, Chile, straight to his window. From the 21st floor of his apartment, he watched a razor-thin beam of intense white light shoot down from the sky, striking deep into the city blocks below and bursting into a flash of bright yellow light. Every direction outside that one spot stayed completely calm, with nothing else disturbed in the surrounding streets or rooftops. The whole scene looked as though something positioned above the clouds had aimed directly at that single location in the city. Targeted, or coincidental, that beam picked one very specific spot to land. Red pulses. A small town went quiet all at once, when red light spread across the clouds above it. The glow moved in slow pulses, flashing and fading in a rhythm that didn't resemble lightning or an ordinary sunset.
Guys, do you see that?
What?
Something about the movement felt deliberate, almost as though the sky itself were reacting to something rather than simply displaying it. Many residents stood outside in silence, unsure what they were looking at, while older local beliefs about red skies as warning signs quickly resurfaced through the crowd. By morning, the color was gone, but the sense that something meaningful had happened stayed behind.
Is that fireworks?
No way.
Sharp beam. Sunbeams through clouds usually soften as they fall, and this one didn't follow that rule either. As the sun dropped toward the horizon over open land, a single beam of deep orange light appeared in the sky, sharply defined and aimed at one specific point on the ground, rather than spreading naturally the way sunlight typically does. Crepuscular rays, the kind of sunbeams that fan out through cloud gaps at dusk, normally widen and soften as they descend. This beam held the same width from top to bottom, with an intensity that never diffused despite traveling that same distance through the atmosphere. Natural light doesn't usually hold a shape that precisely for that long. Captive room. Some videos are unsettling simply because of how little context comes with them. In the footage, a young woman is seen inside a filthy, cluttered room when a cardboard box suddenly falls from above, sending her into a panic. Later clips show her eating and holding up a handwritten sign asking for more food, suggesting she was kept somewhere with barely enough to survive. The scene resembles stories about hidden captivity rooms, and it grows tenser when someone begins trying to break through the barricaded door. The recording ends abruptly, and nothing further has ever surfaced about what happened to her. No update ever followed, and her situation remains completely unresolved. Staged tapes. Some of the most unsettling horror footage online turns out to be exactly that, footage made for a movie. Clips from a supposed recording show a woman held in a dim basement-like space, visibly frightened as a masked figure slowly approaches her. The footage cuts away before revealing what happens next. This clip originates from the Poughkeepsie tapes, a 2007 mockumentary later confirmed to be staged rather than real footage. Despite that confirmation, some viewers still connect it to actual unsolved disappearances reported in the same town during the early 2000s. Fiction or not, the connection to real, local cases is part of why it still unsettles people. Hollywood claims. Some industry stories take decades to be spoken about publicly, and this is one of them. Actor Corey Feldman has said that he and his late friend Corey Haim experienced inappropriate treatment from powerful figures in the industry, including during the filming of The Lost Boys in 1987. Feldman has continued speaking publicly about mistreatment he says affected many child actors of that era, hoping to draw attention to a part of the industry that rarely gets addressed. He has said he believes the truth has stayed hidden for years, protecting those responsible while leaving young performers without a voice. Whether or not more comes to light, his account has stayed part of the conversation for years.
I can tell you that the number one problem in Hollywood was and is and always will be pedophilia.
Nobody talks about pedophilia.
It's the big secret.
And it's widespread?
Oh yeah. I was surrounded by them.
Mysterious secret. Something strange happened at a local club match in Mexico back in 2023, and it was never fully revealed to the public. Fans said storm clouds rolled in fast, but people soon noticed a large pyramid shape forming above the stadium. Then bright lights came down from the sky, and players on the field froze in place. Some witnesses swore they saw a player lift off the ground for a few seconds before landing again. Strange, dark stone shapes appeared floating above the stadium roof, silent and unmoving. Officials shut down all talk of the event, and no official statement was ever released. To this day, no one knows the full truth. Sudden hailstorm. Stepping out to a car in a parking lot doesn't usually come with a warning. In Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, a man walking to his car found the sky suddenly dropping chunks of ice, the size of golf balls, straight down around him, striking cars, pavement, and drainage grates without pause. He pulled out his phone and started recording, despite the hail bouncing near his feet, then ducked under a nearby shed roof to wait it out. A short trip to the car turned into an unexpected wait for the sky to calm down. Crow swarm. A Walmart parking lot during lockdown wasn't where anyone expected to witness something like this. In May 2020, millions of crows arrived without warning over a parking lot in Texas, descending in waves until the ground and nearby structures were covered in birds. The handful of people out during restrictions stood still, watching the scene unfold.
That's disgusting. Go away.
I got in my car just in time. This is ridiculous.
Behavior experts later noted that crow gatherings of this scale have historically preceded seismic or atmospheric events, since certain species show sensitivity to environmental shifts well before instruments detect anything. Coincidence or early warning? That parking lot hasn't looked the same in anyone's memory since.
That's disgusting. Go away.
I got in my car just in time. This is ridiculous.
Stage testimony. Some pivotal moments in modern history rest on something other than the truth. In 1990, a Kuwaiti girl named Naira testified before Congress, tearfully describing Iraqi soldiers removing babies from incubators inside Kuwait.
While I was there, I saw the Iraqi soldiers come into hospital with guns. They took the babies out of the incubators. Took the incubators and left the children to die on the cold floor.
Her account helped shift public opinion and contributed to building support for the American-led invasion of Iraq. It later came out that she was the daughter of Kuwait's ambassador to the United States, and that a public relations firm had coordinated her testimony. Despite this, President George Bush had already cited the need to protect Kuwaiti sovereignty when announcing the war. Sometimes, the story that shapes history isn't the one that turns out to be true.
It was horrifying. I could not help but think of my nephew, who, if born premature, might have died that day as well.
Series Fix.
Tonight marks the 100th anniversary of a notorious moment in baseball history, the White Sox losing to the Cincinnati Reds in the 1919 World Series.
Baseball history holds no bigger example of a game that wasn't actually being played straight. In 1919, the Chicago White Sox were heavily favored to defeat the Cincinnati Reds in the World Series, yet their performance fell apart in ways that felt deliberate. Whispers spread quickly, and it eventually came out that 8 players had agreed to lose on purpose, having taken money from gamblers to throw the series. None of them ever faced criminal charges, despite being banned from the sport for life. Some still argue they were framed, while others believe they were simply pawns in a larger scheme. Either way, the scandal changed how the sport was watched from then on.
Was it ultimately greed that drove those players?
I think, yes, greed is, I think, the primary motivation for how the Black Sox scandal happened.
Flowing depths. A quiet night of fishing turned into something far stranger once the water itself started glowing. While navigating dark water, a boat owner noticed a large glowing mass just beneath the surface, casting light upward as though something artificial rested on the seabed. Marine life continued moving normally around it, and the water showed no sign of heat or disturbance, ruling out a typical bioluminescent bloom. True ocean bioluminescence does exist, produced by dinoflagellates and deep-sea organisms, but it usually appears as a diffuse shimmer rather than a single concentrated light source like this one. Whatever was glowing beneath that boat, it didn't behave like anything documented before. Isolated storm. Storms typically spread and drift, but this one in Islamabad refused to follow that pattern. On September 6th, 2025, cumulonimbus clouds built rapidly over one concentrated section of sky, while everything surrounding it stayed completely clear. The formation lit up repeatedly from within and released a short, intense burst of rain directly beneath it, before stopping just as abruptly. Meteorologists pointed to unstable local atmospheric conditions, a standard and reasonable explanation. What made it harder to accept was how precisely the event stayed, forming, acting, and stopping in the exact same spot, rather than spreading the way storms typically do. That kind of precision isn't what storms usually look like. Split sky. People walking through Rome that evening stopped mid-step at the same moment, for the same reason. Half the sky sat beneath heavy dark clouds, while the other half stayed bathed in warm light, and the boundary between the two held as a clean, hard edge, rather than the gradual fade dusk normally produces. That line stayed in place well after sunset, long past when atmosphere and light would typically blend together. People who filmed it said the footage never captured what it felt like standing beneath it, that unmistakable sense the sky had been split by something other than ordinary weather. Photos rarely do a moment like that justice. Ocean wall. A fisherman off the coast of Pensacola wasn't expecting the sky itself to look like a wall. Hanging directly above the water was what looked like a massive white wall descending from the clouds. A thick, flat shelf stretching as far as he could see in either direction. Unlike a typical storm, it wasn't drifting or building. It simply sat there, low and heavy, as though the sky had lowered its own ceiling. Scientists refer to this formation as a shelf cloud, which forms when cold air pushes beneath warm, humid air over open water. Rare as they are, that kind of formation looks far stranger in person than in any photo. Orange horizon. Long Island residents went from an ordinary dark evening to something entirely different within seconds. The sky above them turned a deep, saturated orange with no single point of origin, spreading evenly across the horizon and lighting up streets and rooftops as though something massive were glowing just out of view. There had been no buildup, no clouds forming beforehand, just darkness, and then that sudden shift. The glow held for several minutes before fading back to nothing, with no official explanation following. Those who filmed it noted that none of their photos captured how wide the orange light had actually looked while standing beneath it. Cameras apparently couldn't do the moment justice. Lennon files. John Lennon's activism made him more than just a musician to the federal government. It made him a target. During the 1970s, he became the subject of an FBI investigation, largely because of his anti-war activism. Agents reportedly tracked his movements and communications, and the government even attempted to have him deported at one point.
You think his lyrics might have in some way
encouraged
encouraged Chapman
what
to
offended anybody, but he was very upfront, extremely kind of open to people.
Officials were said to be concerned about his growing influence over younger audiences during a politically tense era. The case has remained a lasting example of how far a government was willing to go to monitor someone it viewed as a threat. Decades later, it's still cited as a clear case of surveillance overreach. Mosquito columns. Not everything that looks like smoke rising into the sky is actually smoke. In mid-February 2024, thick swarms of mosquitoes formed into rotating columns across parts of a city in Mexico, dense enough to disrupt outdoor activity entirely. Streets emptied out as residents stayed indoors, worried about mosquito-borne illness spreading through the affected areas. Researchers linked the swarm scale to rising water levels and prolonged damp conditions nearby, which created ideal breeding grounds. Dense insect swarms like this have even been documented, generating localized shifts in the air directly above them. It's a reminder that some of the strangest-looking skies have a very ordinary explanation underneath. Vertical light. Sunrise looks a certain way, and what people in Chamorden saw did not match it. On February 5th, 2026, residents woke to a bright, vertical column of light stretching from the horizon straight up into the sky above their town. Many initially assumed it was an early, unusually intense sunrise. It quickly became clear that actual sunrise hadn't begun yet, and nothing about the light matched any dawn they recognized. Footage spread quickly, with explanations ranging from atmospheric refraction to less comfortable theories. Refraction or not, it's still one of the more debated clips from that morning. Cursed broadcast. A video like this doesn't need jump scares to feel wrong, just a stare that doesn't break. The footage shows a man looking directly into the camera against a red, cloudy backdrop, his stare remaining completely fixed the entire time. A high-pitched sound plays underneath, sharp enough to feel like nails dragging across a chalkboard. According to the legend built around this clip, anyone who watched it for too long began behaving in ways they couldn't later explain, feeding claims that the recording itself was cursed. True or not, it's the kind of clip people stop watching halfway through. Mysterious rainbow. You have probably never seen a rainbow like this one before. It showed up in the sky over Colorado, stretching out in a way that looked almost unreal. The colors were bright and sharp, cutting through a wall of dark storm clouds behind it. People who saw it stopped and stared, some grabbing their phones to catch the moment before it faded. The shape was longer and wider than most rainbows, almost like it was glowing from within the clouds. Weather fans online said it was one of the rarest sightings they had seen in years. For a few minutes, the whole sky felt like magic. Woman face. The sky was dark and quiet when the fireworks shot up and burst into light. For a second, the orange glow spread out like fire in the air. People looked up and gasped. Inside the smoke, They could see the shape of a face. It looked soft and gentle, almost like a woman looking down at the crowd. Some said it was just smoke and light playing tricks. Others said it felt like a sign, like someone was watching over them that night. The moment faded fast, but everyone who saw it agreed on one thing. It was strange, beautiful, and a little bit magic. Fantastic upload. Some internet mysteries never get solved, and this one from 2019 is still discussed today. A video titled "I Feel Fantastic" appeared online, showing a robotic figure dressed in different outfits, repeating an eerie, monotone song while moving in jerky, unnatural motions. Once it started circulating, viewers began developing their own theories about the uploader and the footage itself, with some speculating the clothing shown in different scenes might connect to missing people. None of these claims have ever been confirmed, and the video's true origin and purpose remain unexplained. It stayed online for years, without anyone offering a solid answer. Sugar cover-up.
A new report shows that the sugar industry sweetened the truth, suppressing the health risks of sugar.
Nutrition advice people trusted for decades may have been shaped by something other than science. A report examining internal documents suggested that sugar industry groups in the 1960s funded research that shifted blame for heart disease away from sugar and onto fat instead, despite mounting evidence connecting sugar to various health issues. That funded research reportedly influenced nutrition guidelines and public health messaging for years afterward, all while sugar's role stayed largely unquestioned. The findings suggest a coordinated effort to steer the conversation in a direction that benefited the industry involved. Decades of dietary advice may have been shaped by something other than pure science. Strange clouds. The sky over parts of the UK looked like it belonged somewhere else entirely one evening. The underside of the cloud cover had formed into rounded, hanging pouches packed tightly together across the sky, unlike anything most people had seen before.
Hanging over us. Feels like it could just drop and crush everything.
These are known as mammatus clouds, which form when moisture-dense air sinks instead of rising, and they're rare enough that many people never see them in their lifetime. Their appearance often signals that the surrounding weather system is building towards something more severe. Rare as they are, they're usually a warning sign more than a spectacle. Flashing sky. The sky above Ashland, Nebraska began flashing in the early hours of August 10th, 2025, and it didn't stop the way a normal storm would. Unlike a passing storm's brief flicker, the flashing continued with a strobe-like intensity long enough to disorient anyone standing outside watching it.
And that's been happening, accompanying winds of 60, 70, even up to 90 miles an hour in the eastern part of Nebraska. So unfortunately, I was just checking on the power outage situation. We're talking about, about 18,000 customers that are all of a sudden without power across Nebraska due to these powerful storms.
It repeated steadily across the horizon, while strong winds tore through the region at ground level, causing damage in several areas at the same time. Whatever triggered it, it lasted far longer than any ordinary lightning display. Weather weapon. Some conspiracy theories involve aliens or the government, and this one involves the weather itself. Some believe militaries have experimented with controlling weather patterns for strategic advantage, pointing to cloud seeding programs and older declassified documents as evidence. According to this theory, these efforts were less about forecasting and more about shaping outcomes on the ground, from droughts to storms. Nothing about the claim has been definitively proven, but the declassified programs that do exist have kept the theory alive among those who follow it closely. Whether it's fact or exaggeration, the idea of weather as a tool hasn't gone away.
So if Eerie was involved in analyzing and studying possibility of weather modification, and you put all those factors together, and I think you have a guy that basically conducted a big, giant weather modification experiment with the St. Louis Arch.
Sky spiral. Clouds rarely put on a show, but that's exactly what people near Zurich described one evening. The clouds above the area had begun rotating slowly into a tightening spiral, and as it pulled inward, a bright light appeared at its center, lighting up the whole formation from within. Onlookers stood watching as though the sky itself were performing something deliberate.
Was ist das? Das ist unglaublich. Es sieht aus wie ein Tunnel aus Licht.
Ich bekomme Gänsehaut, ehrlich.
Es wird heller, seht ihr das? Wow.
Nothing entered or exited the spiral throughout the sighting, and the way it unfolded, slow and unhurried, made it harder for witnesses to dismiss as an ordinary weather pattern. No clear explanation followed, and the footage is still being passed around. Ocean descent. A dock in Florida isn't usually where you'd expect to witness something falling from the sky and vanishing without a trace. A man standing there caught a bright blue light cutting across the sky before diving straight into the ocean nearby. For a few seconds, the glow lit the water so intensely that the dark waves looked almost white. Then it disappeared just as suddenly, with no splash, no smoke, nothing left behind to explain it. Some believe it was simply a meteor, while others think the path looked too controlled to be random, as though it entered the water on purpose. Nobody has ever confirmed what that light actually was. Melbourne Pulse. Residents of Melbourne heard something before they ever saw it. Just after 3:30 in the morning on April 17th, 2026, people stepped outside to find a vivid red glow pulsing above the cloud layer, fading and then reappearing in the same spot. Red sprites are a documented type of atmospheric discharge, typically flashing once at extreme altitude before disappearing entirely. This sighting repeated instead of vanishing after a single flash, suggesting either a sustained energy source or a pattern meteorologists hadn't formally documented before. No aircraft activity was recorded in the area at the time. Whatever caused it, it didn't behave like any sprite on record. Cloud bursts. A late-night walk through a New Jersey park turned into an unplanned skywatching session. On July 6, 2018, a witness recorded bright flashes bursting across sections of cloud cover in rapid, irregular succession without the sustained light or sound that ordinary lightning produces. Each burst appeared isolated, as though it originated from within the clouds rather than passing through them. One phenomenon matching that description is known as sprites or elves. Brief electrical discharges above thunderstorm systems that remain largely unstudied due to how quickly and unpredictably they occur. Rare as they are, that night gave one witness a much longer look than most people ever get. Broadcast hijack. Television signals aren't supposed to change hands mid-broadcast, but that's what happened in Chicago. In 1987, at exactly 11:15 at night, viewers watching Doctor Who suddenly saw a masked figure take over their screen instead of the show. Engineers regained control within seconds the first time, but the same intruder returned again later that night. The person appeared to be impersonating Max Headroom, a fictional character from the mid-1980s, though the meaning behind the mocking message was never made clear.
But it's the only way to learn.
I'll get you a hot drink.
Some dry clothing.
Despite years of investigation, authorities never identified who was responsible. Nearly 4 decades later, the case remains one of broadcasting's strangest unsolved mysteries. Glowing disc. Watching a sunset from an apartment window doesn't usually turn into something worth recording. A man in San Antonio, Texas, noticed a glowing disc-shaped light buried inside a massive dark storm cloud as the sky shifted into evening. The light stayed bright, round, and steadily pulsing above the skyline, while the horizon beneath it burned a deep orange that made the whole scene look almost staged. 2 glowing points near its center gave the impression of something positioned directly above the city, rather than just a passing weather formation. Storm or something else, that sunset didn't look like any other one recorded that week. Eerie burst. Dusk was settling over Eerie, Pennsylvania the way it does every evening, until it wasn't. A bystander watching the sunset saw the sky suddenly light up with the full brightness of midday in one sharp burst, holding briefly before dusk returned and took over again. It wasn't lightning, and no aircraft or ground tremor was recorded in the area at the time.
Wait, what is that?
Nothing logged that evening offered an explanation for what caused the sky to behave that way for those few seconds. No record exists to explain it, only the account of what one person happened to see.
What is that?
Twilight rocket. Bright shapes moving across a night sky usually get explained quickly, but this one took time. On September 5th, 2025, glowing formations drifted across the night sky above Shenzhen, and footage spread faster than any official explanation could keep up. Assessments eventually pointed to a twilight rocket effect, where exhaust particles released at high altitude catch sunlight, even after the sun has set, for everyone below. As those particles drift through the upper atmosphere, sunlight hitting them from below the horizon creates swirling patterns that resemble neither ordinary weather nor a typical rocket trail. Explained or not, the footage still looks stranger than the science behind it. Being woken up by strange light is unsettling enough without your entire street reacting the same way. In the early hours of December 27th, 2025, a woman in Washington, D.C. was woken by flashes of light and deep, resonant sounds moving across the sky. Stepping outside, she found neighbors already gathered, equally unsure of what was happening. An early theory about a power facility malfunction was floated and quietly dropped. The flashes continued without any visible source, and the sounds kept moving without attaching to anything anyone could see. Washington, D.C. remains one of the most closely monitored airspaces in the world, which made the night stand out even more.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried.
A man filming a public square in China caught something he wasn't expecting. A small pinpoint of light appeared in open air, hovering with no source and no explanation. People nearby noticed immediately. One person actually moved closer instead of backing away, which says something about how real it looked. Then the light began expanding, stretching into what looked unmistakably like an opening. Not a reflection, not a lens flare. An opening. Nobody laughed, nobody dismissed it. They just stood there staring at what many online later described as a doorway that had no business existing in broad daylight. Silent savior. A CCTV camera at a Chinese intersection captured something with no rational explanation. A rickshaw driver was crossing when a van came speeding directly toward him. No time to brake, no time to swerve. Then, in a single frame, everything changed. A man appeared, and both he and the rickshaw were suddenly on the side of the road, clear of the van. The van driver stopped, visibly shaken. The rickshaw driver sat frozen, unable to process what happened, and the man who saved him simply walked away. No pause, no reaction, no acknowledgement, like he had done it before. Mirror portal. Back in 2001, a girl was alone in her bedroom when she accidentally discovered something she wasn't prepared for. She placed two mirrors directly facing each other, and somewhere in that reflection, something opened. What started as curiosity became something else entirely. She tested it slowly, first her hand, then her face, both passing through without resistance, then her foot. Then she held her phone camera inside and pointed it at whatever was on the other side.
3, 2, 1.
What it showed was a large, empty space that looked exactly like a deserted Walmart. No people, no movement, no sound. Nobody has ever explained what that space was, or how two mirrors in a bedroom opened a door to it. Flying cars. A normal intersection in China turned chaotic without any warning. Traffic was moving as usual when cars began lifting off the ground one after another, rising into the air with no explanation. No explosion, no wind, no visible force acting on them. Just cars floating above a road in broad daylight while drivers sat frozen, unable to process what was happening around them. Footage spread fast, but nothing concrete has ever explained why those cars left the ground that day. Wonder Woman. A car hit a woman crossing the street, and instead of sending her flying, the bumper crumpled on contact. She barely moved. No fall, no injury, no real reaction at all. The car took the damage. She didn't. Bystanders stood there completely stunned while she walked away without even looking back. People online had one response: only Wonder Woman. Real Thor. During a heavy storm, someone captured something that spread across the internet within hours. Right in the middle of a lightning strike, a human figure was visible, suspended in the air, positioned exactly where the bolts were branching outward. Not below them, not beside them. Right in the center, like a source. The figure wasn't falling or struggling, just completely still while electricity exploded around it. People online skipped every other theory and went straight to one name: Thor. Looking at the footage, it's genuinely difficult to argue otherwise. Guardian Force. A grandfather was in a parking lot teaching his grandson how to ride a scooter when something intervened. Without warning, both of them were pulled sideways, fast and clean, like something grabbed them in a single motion. Seconds later, a massive rock came crashing down from above, landing exactly where they had been standing. Neither was touched. People reviewing the footage couldn't identify what moved them. No person ran in, nothing visible made contact. Whatever pulled them out of the way that day simply didn't want to be seen. Mall portal. A man was pulling into a parking spot at a mall with his friend when something appeared behind the vehicle, a glowing opening, just sitting there in the middle of the lot. His friend froze, but instead of backing away, the man walked straight toward it. The moment he stepped inside, it closed, gone instantly. His friend ran screaming for help, but there was nothing anyone could do. No trace, no explanation, no sighting afterward. That man has not been seen or heard from since. Human forklift. A road in China came to a standstill when a large truck couldn't squeeze through a narrow gap between two vehicles. Then, one man casually walked over, bent down, and lifted the back end of the truck with his bare hands without any struggle. He simply repositioned it like it weighed nothing and stepped aside. People watching from nearby didn't even react the way you'd expect, almost like they'd seen something they couldn't process. A fully loaded truck. One man. No effort. Whatever this guy is carrying inside him, it isn't normal. Accidental power. Two girls got off a bus in the middle of a heated argument with a man who followed them down. The situation escalated fast on the pavement, voices raised, people nearby starting to take notice. Then the man stepped forward aggressively, and that's when something unexpected happened. One of the girls raised her hands, not in a calculated way, more like a reflex, and the man was thrown back. Not pushed, thrown. What made the clip genuinely unsettling wasn't his reaction. It was hers. She stumbled back herself, looked at her own hands, visibly confused about what had just come out of them, like she had no idea she could do that until that exact moment. Glowing eyes. A girl was filming her brother on a busy street, just a casual clip to send to their mom. Then, in the background, a guy and a girl bumped into each other, and the girl's diary hit the ground. What happened next was caught completely by accident. The girl's eyes lit up, a faint but visible glow lasting only a second. And in that exact moment, the guy instantly bent down and picked the diary up, handing it back without any hesitation.
Hey Mom, we're doing alright. Good.
What did we do today?
Did nothing. We didn't go to
That's not true.
He didn't look like he chose to do it. He looked like something made him. The girl filming had no idea what she had captured until she watched it back. Shadowless patron. A chilling piece of boutique surveillance footage has gone viral, leaving both the store owner and online investigators completely face-to-face with the impossible. The video captures a customer browsing the aisles normally, walking directly past a large, floor-length security mirror. While his physical body is clearly visible in the aisle, the glass reflects absolutely nothing but the empty shelves behind him. His silhouette has no reflection, and his body casts no shadow on the brightly lit floor.
Wait, I know. What? I don't know this.
After reviewing the footage, the shop owner was left deeply shocked and confused. Paranormal enthusiasts are convinced the camera captured a non-corporeal entity walking among the living, while video editors claim it is a flawless digital masking stunt. Headlight Man. A surveillance camera inside a parking lot captured a moment that still has no clear explanation. An unknown man was seen walking calmly between two rows of parked cars. At first, nothing seemed unusual. Then he slowly spread his arms toward the vehicles. One by one, the headlights began turning on without anyone inside. He continued walking, repeating the same motion, lighting each car as he passed. Afterward, he got into his own car and drove away. There are no visible remotes, no sudden movements, and no signs of interference in the footage. Just a whole lot of confusion for those who saw this. Paranormal portal. This one was filmed in a quiet suburban neighborhood. And honestly, it's hard to look away. In broad daylight, a massive oval-shaped opening appeared, hovering above a residential driveway. It wasn't small either. The thing stretched several feet tall, surrounded by a thick ring of swirling cloud-like material, dark in the center, and completely still in a way that felt wrong. But what really shook people wasn't the visual. It was the audio.
What is hiding behind that cloud?
Residents nearby reported hearing screams coming from inside it. Not wind, not traffic, screams. The footage spread fast after the 11th of September, 2025, and nobody, not the homeowner, not investigators, has offered a single explanation for what opened up above that driveway that day. Glowing hands. A cameraman was filming a model on a busy street when something in the background stopped everything. Behind her, a young man was standing, with his hands glowing, faint, but unmistakable, even against the bright city lights around him. What made it stranger was the boy's own reaction. He looked genuinely surprised, almost like he had just discovered something about himself at that moment. Then the cameraman shouted. That's when things escalated fast. The boy panicked, bolted toward the road, and in the next frame, he was already across, appearing at the staircase nearby with a bus between where he had been and where he landed. People on the street froze. Nobody had an explanation. Nobody even tried to follow him. Park vanish. A park security camera caught something that nobody could explain. A boy appeared mid-run on an empty path, no lead-up, no entry point, just suddenly there and already in motion. He ran toward a tree, and the moment he passed behind it, he never came out the other side. Investigators checked every angle. The tree wasn't wide enough to hide behind. No blind spot, no gap in the footage. He simply stopped existing after that tree. What makes it stranger is that he was already running when he appeared, almost like he arrived mid-motion from somewhere else entirely. Real X-Man. A man walked into a doctor's clinic for a routine checkup. The moment he placed his hands on the table, something came out of them. Long iron rods extended directly from his knuckles, slowly and completely, like they had always been there. The doctor backed away immediately. He later told people that in his entire career, he had never seen anything like it. That man, he said, was the closest thing to a real X-Man he had ever witnessed. Telekinetic girl. Two men fighting inside a restaurant bumped into a girl sitting nearby. That's when things shifted completely. A table beside her slid on its own. No contact, no vibration, nothing that could explain it. The two men and their entire group stopped and stared. When one of them turned toward her aggressively, she didn't move back. She pushed him away without laying a single finger on him. He stumbled. She picked up her bag and walked out of the restaurant like absolutely nothing had happened. Roadside vanish. A man was walking along a quiet roadside path. Nothing unusual about the scene at all. Then a car passed by in front of him, just for a second blocking the view. When it cleared, the man was gone. No side road, no bushes, no turn. He could have taken that fast. Investigators who reviewed the footage slowed it down frame by frame and found no moment where he actually walked out of frame. He was simply there, and then he wasn't. Notebook portal. A man drew a specific symbol inside a notebook, and within seconds, a glowing portal tore open in the air right in front of him, edges burning bright orange, dark in the center. What stood out wasn't the portal. It was how calm he was. No shock, no hesitation. He looked at it briefly, then simply erased the symbol. It closed immediately. The whole thing felt practiced, like he had opened and shut that door many times before. Night vanish. A security camera captured a man walking alone down a quiet street late at night. Then he vanished. No corner to turn, no doorway, no obstruction blocking the view. One frame he was there, the next he was completely gone. The person reviewing the footage watched it back multiple times, visibly shaken. No explanation was ever found. Most viewers who saw it online agreed on one thing: that man did not simply walk out of frame. Live teleport. A news reporter was conducting a live broadcast in 2022 when something in the background caught viewers off guard. A man in a white shirt appeared mid-frame with no approach, no walk-in, no transition, simply there between one frame and the next, standing casually like he had always been in that spot. Nobody around him reacted. The reporter had no idea it was happening behind her. The clip was replayed thousands of times, and nobody could find a single moment where that man actually entered the frame. Indonesia portal. A CCTV camera on a busy Indonesian street captured something nobody present noticed that night. In the middle of the crowded road, a portal opened, briefly but clearly visible on the footage. A man stepped out and immediately blended into the moving crowd without breaking stride, without looking around, without drawing a single glance from anyone nearby. No panic, no reaction from anyone. He just merged into the flow of people like he had simply turned a corner. The camera caught everything. Everyone else missed it, completely. Ghost car. Dashcam footage from a busy road shows traffic moving normally until something impossible happens. A car appears directly in front of another vehicle with zero lead up. No turn, no merge, no blind spot entry. Frame-by-frame analysis shows nothing approaching from any angle. It simply wasn't there, and then it was, already at full speed like it had always been there. No logical entry point was ever found. Two explanations kept coming up: teleportation, or a glitch in the Matrix. Neither one is easy to dismiss. Waterbender. A man at the edge of the sea began making slow, deliberate movements with his arms, looking purposeful, but making no sense at first. Then, on his final motion, the water rose. A visible mass of seawater lifted into the air without him touching it, responding to his movements like it was connected to him. People nearby stepped back, others just stared. Nobody tried to explain it in the moment. Whatever that man was doing at that shoreline, he clearly hadn't stumbled into it by accident. Frame vanish. A CCTV camera captured a girl walking into frame completely normally. Nothing unusual about her movement or the surroundings. Then she stopped. Within seconds, she was gone. Not walking out of frame, not stepping sideways, just gone from the exact spot she had been standing. No obstruction passed in front of her, no cut in the footage. She appeared, stood there briefly, and then simply ceased to exist within the frame. Nobody who reviewed that footage has offered an explanation since. Three-legged man. A man was waiting for a train to pass when he noticed something strange in front of him. There was a man walking casually, and he appeared to have 3 legs. He moved normally, as if nothing was unusual at all. The man was unable to understand what he was seeing. No tricks, no clear explanation, just a moment that didn't make sense. So what do you think? Reality glitch or something far stranger? Let me know in the comments. Rainy default. A man noticed something unsettling on a rainy night. On the opposite side of the road, a strange shadow had formed. It was late, rain was pouring, and yet the shadow looked perfectly human, something that shouldn't be possible in those conditions.
Yo, who left their shadow, bro? Like, nobody's here. Nobody's here. Who left their shadow? Come get it.
It didn't move like a normal reflection, and there was no clear source behind it. The more he watched, the stranger it felt, almost as if reality had slipped for a moment. Was it a glitch in the Matrix, or a human hiding some unknown ability? The glitch effect. Leaked security footage from a crowded commercial zone has sparked intense online debate after capturing multiple individuals seemingly erasing from physical reality. The jarring, low-resolution clips show everyday shoppers and commuters instantly vanishing into thin air, leaving nearby witnesses completely stunned. While technical analysts maintain these sudden disappearances are merely sophisticated digital compositions designed to illustrate a profound philosophical concept, independent researchers argue the anomalous data reveals a deeper mystery. The viral footage has left millions questioning whether our reality is as stable as it appears, or if a cloaked protocol is being tested in public sectors. The event horizon. Breathtaking footage captured by a tourist couple has taken the internet by storm, revealing a terrifying anomaly inside a subterranean cavern. The two travelers recorded themselves stepping toward a swirling, hyper-luminous rift embedded deep within the stone walls. As they walked directly into the blinding center, their physical silhouettes steadily dissolved into pure light before completely erasing from the frame. The video has left investigators baffled, as local authorities confirm neither traveler ever emerged from the cavern system. Paranormal researchers argue this is undeniable proof of a naturally occurring multi-dimensional portal, suggesting the couple weren't tourists at all, but interdimensional wanderers finally stepping back into their home reality. Floating in air. In a short clip that spread quickly online, a man could be seen floating above the ground in open space. There were no visible wires, supports, or equipment holding him up. What unsettled viewers most was how controlled it looked. He wasn't struggling or panicking. He appeared steady, almost practiced. The footage sparked theories ranging from advanced technology to interdimensional abilities. Some believe it could be a trick, but no clear explanation has been agreed upon. If real, the video challenges one basic rule everyone takes for granted: gravity. Quantum Shroud. Astonishing footage has taken the internet by storm, seemingly demonstrating a breakthrough in optical technology. The video captures a man walking down a set of stairs into a garden, proudly holding a specialized, translucent gown. To show it off, he stands in plain sight and extends the fabric directly in front of his body. Instantly, his entire torso blends seamlessly into the background foliage, rendering him practically invisible. While digital effects experts argue it is a clever green screen composite, millions are convinced they are looking at a real-world cloaking device. Dual portals. A video uploaded by a young boy shows something that looks impossible. In his bedroom, two circular openings appeared suspended in the air, facing each other. Objects placed into one opening emerged from the other, as if space itself were folding. Items floated briefly between the two. Many dismissed it as digital manipulation, but the uploader insisted nothing was altered. The lighting stays consistent, shadows behave normally, and the portals remain stable throughout the clip. Some viewers called it a visual trick. Others believed it hinted at a temporary glitch in reality itself. Reverse apparition. Chilling CCTV footage from a Sao Paulo cemetery has left the online community deeply disturbed. The night vision security camera captured a pale, hollow-eyed girl pacing down a dark graveyard pathway with an unnatural, backward stride. Without warning, her physical silhouette abruptly loses its form, rapidly condensing into a dense cloud of dark smoke before completely vanishing into thin air. While technical skeptics point towards sophisticated digital loops, local caretakers are convinced they witnessed a restless spirit breaking through a dimensional veil. Coop apparitions. Chilling CCTV security footage from a rural homestead has left researchers thoroughly unsettled. The night vision camera, monitoring an isolated chicken coop, captured two young children walking hand in hand past the startled livestock. Before reaching the wooden enclosure's exit, both figures abruptly halted. Without a sound, their silhouettes faded into absolute nothingness right in midair. While skeptics blame a digital recording glitch, owners are convinced the coop is built over a historical burial site. Smoke phantom. Chilling CCTV security footage from a municipal cemetery has left neighborhood residents completely terrified. The late-night video captures a young girl in a pale dress, walking with a strange, unnatural stride down a deserted graveyard path. As she approaches the padlocked iron gates, she doesn't stop or attempt to climb. Instead, the moment her silhouette touches the bars, her entire form instantly dissolves into a cloud of thick, dark smoke before vanishing into the night air. While skeptics suspect a clever digital edit, locals remain convinced it is an authentic supernatural apparition. The telekinetic slam. A chilling footage has sparked intense online debate after capturing a seemingly impossible physical feat. The video shows an employee focused on his desk when he suddenly raises his hand, gesturing toward a heavy door several yards away. Instantly, the door slams violently shut directly in the cameraman's face. What has left viewers unsettled is the immense distance between the man and the doorframe, fueling rumors of a real-world telekinetic anomaly. National Park humanoid. A newly declassified Pentagon UAP file has sent shockwaves through the ufology community, capturing a chillingly familiar anomaly. The military infrared footage reveals a dark, distinctly humanoid figure silently drifting through restricted airspace at high altitude. Investigators have immediately linked the classified recording to the infamous 2015 sighting over Sequoia National Park, where stunned witnesses photographed a similar floating entity. While officials categorize the object as an unidentified aerial phenomenon, theorists argue the matching silhouettes provide undeniable proof of an intelligent, non-human presence monitoring our most protected landscapes. The lightning phantom. A terrifying piece of trail cam footage has gone viral after capturing a chilling anomaly during a severe midnight thunderstorm. The stationary camera, left running in an isolated woodland area, recorded a pitch-black silhouette standing motionless between the trees. Visible only during brief, intense flashes of lightning, the towering figure appeared to be gripping a long, distinct staff or stick. The sudden, rhythmic illumination left the property owner completely shocked and confused as the mysterious entity vanished without a trace the moment the storm passed. The haunted pendant. An unsettling piece of interior dashcam footage has gone viral after documenting an apparent paranormal disturbance inside an empty vehicle. The camera, left rolling while the car was parked for several hours, captured the rearview mirror hanging accessory, suddenly violently swaying on its own.
Guys, check this out. This is trippy as hell. So this car next to me is parked, but like it's not on.
Remarkably, the object maintained a rapid, perfectly consistent pace for the duration of the recording, completely defying the natural deceleration of physics. While skeptics attribute the continuous motion to subtle thermal drafts or nearby heavy traffic vibrations, viewers are convinced the vehicle's cabin was occupied by an invisible, energetic presence. The sidewalk phantom. Chilling CCTV security footage from a residential neighborhood has sparked intense paranormal debates online. The video captures a quiet, empty street at night when a woman suddenly materializes out of thin air under a street lamp. Without breaking stride, she continues walking down the sidewalk normally, completely unfazed. While technical skeptics blame a digital glitch or a cut in the recording, viewers are convinced it is definitive proof of an active displacement rift. The Russian teleportation. Bizarre street surveillance footage from Russia has triggered a massive wave of paranormal speculation across social media platforms. The video captures a casual encounter between two men on a city sidewalk when a cyclist suddenly materializes directly from behind one of them, seemingly out of thin air. Dubbed by online communities as the first documented case of human teleportation caught on camera, the clip shows no visible approach or angles of the rider beforehand. While video editors argue the illusion is merely a perfect camera blind spot caused by the pedestrian's body blocking the incoming bike, viewers remain captivated by the seamless, glitch-like appearance. The Ghost Hound. Chilling dashcam footage from a midnight highway race has left the online community completely gridlocked. The high-definition video captures two modified sports cars tearing down the straightaway at blistering speeds when a dog suddenly materializes directly in the center of the lane. While the camera clearly records the animal sprinting safely across the asphalt, frame-by-frame analysis reveals no trace of it entering from either the median or the shoulder. Skeptics argue it was a perfectly timed stray, but viewers are convinced the vehicle's headlights caught a phantom entity manifesting out of thin air. And now, let us move on to our subscriber pick of the day. Bizarre roadside surveillance has captured an unsettling anomaly that has left transportation analysts completely stumped. The footage shows a white sedan traveling at a steady speed down an isolated, winding highway. As the vehicle passes behind a single large tree on the shoulder, it completely vanishes from the frame. The car never emerges from the other side, leaving viewers convinced that the tree acts as a localized spatial rift or a cloaking zone.